How do you deal, or how should people deal with critics these days, especially with social media?
Oh yeah, oh my
Because
God.
everyone's putting pictures here and there's always someone that has something bad to say.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've got someone recently goes on all my posts and says, Marisa Peers is a transgender, don't listen to her. And I'm like, oh, well, I know I'm not transgender. I don't actually really feel any need to comment. And if I was, would that mean that I shouldn't have an opinion then? Even if it was true, are you saying that because you think I'm transgender, I shouldn't speak? But I conceived a baby and had her and did lots of things I couldn't do if I was transgender. But when you look at people doing that, you have to take a back seat and think, who would sit at home thinking, let me get out my laptop, who can I hurt today, who can I wound and diminish and criticize? And you have to take a back seat and remember the great truth. Critical people always, always, always have the most criticism reserved for themselves. They express outwards their intense dissatisfaction. And they have a belief, I'm miserable, and if I can make you miserable, we'll be equal in misery. But if you're happy, I feel so unequal to you. So it's a bit like a seesaw. So if this was like a seesaw, and I'm on the seesaw and you're on the seesaw, but you think that I'm happy and you're not, and I'm up here, you only have two choices, either diminish me or embellish yourself, and then that might happen. But you see, people who don't like themselves can't embellish themselves. They can't go, yeah, I'm so great, and I've got this great job, and I've got this great body, and everyone loves me. They can't really do the embellishment. They can only do the diminishing. Everyone hates you. Who do you think you are? You're transgender. You're weird. You don't know what you're talking about. And the only thing to do with criticism is not let it in. You have a choice. Don't let it in. When people say things where I go, thanks for sharing. Thank you, thanks for sharing that. Or, what an interesting opinion. You know, occasionally I have gone back to people and, you know, psychotherapists especially, somebody recently said, your post is ridiculous and you say that we're born with just fears of loud noises and falling and rejection, but that's not true. Babies are born with fears and morals. And I said, babies aren't born with morals. Oh, yes, they are. I'm like, where did you get that from? And then she got very, very angry. I said, look, let's just agree to differ. She goes, no, I don't want to agree to differ. I want you to apologize. So I just said, oh, I'm just deleting all these posts because it's a bit pointless going head to head with someone who doesn't want to listen, just wants to diminish you. But they can only diminish you if you let them. And I would never let that happen. I mean, you can dislike me. You can not agree with me, but you can't make me dislike myself.
Because you're enough.
Yeah, because I'm enough.
Right.
Some people say, oh, they didn't like me and must have done something wrong. Well, not everybody can like you, but if you like you, you liking you is way more important than someone else liking you. And I do wish in schools they would say to kids, you know what? Whatever you say to your mind, it believes. You know, I work with so many kids without a dad, and I go, okay, darling, this is the only thing we can ever do. If you had an amazing dad, what would he say? And they all know, because it's their wound. He would say, I love you. What a great kid. How lucky I am to have you as a kid. I go, I want you to say that every day. I know it sounds mad, but say it because your mind doesn't go, who's saying this? It just lets it in. And I've seen so many really damaged kids, especially young boys who've never had a dad, transform dramatically by just saying at night what a good dad would say, because the mind doesn't stop to say who's saying that, it lets it in.
But that's not an affirmation? Is that something different? You don't call it that.
I'm not mad about affirmations,
Okay.
because they're very abstract. Like an affirmation is life is a walk through the park and the sun's always shining. Well, not in London. It rains, you tread in dog poo. It's not always a walk in the park. And if you have an affirmation, life is beautiful and wonderful every minute of every day, you don't believe it. But if you say, I have extraordinary coping skills, whatever goes on in life, I make the best of it, and I find happiness everywhere I go, that is what I call a statement of truth. Okay. Life is wonderful is not true, but I see the wonder in life can be true. So I prefer statements of truth to affirmations because you can make them amazing.